Facebook family and friends, what's happening? Sorry about that. What's going on this evening? You know, it's Friday night, 9 p.m. While other people are out there having a great time, we're in here talking smack and jack. All right, so I'm going to send out these invites really quick here. Hopefully, they're working this time. Uh, we will see. Everybody always lets me know if they get them and it don't. So we will know momentarily. How's everybody doing tonight? You know, we're going to have a very familiar face on here this evening, Jimbo. Jimbo Jambo Jumbo, my bro. Uh, so what's going on tonight, you guys? Anybody, what's everybody doing? Let it be known. We got a couple of issues we're going to talk about, some really good ones and some other ones. You know, history was made this week. We're happy to say. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. But how's your guys' night going? Like, how are you guys doing? What are you guys up to? How does it feel to be free? Boom, boom, boom. And I am sending out a gang of requests right now, guys. Let me bring Jimbo Jambo Jumbo on here like normal. Bing, bang, boom. Jimbo, what's happening, my brother from another mother?
I'm here, present, and accounted for.
Here, present, and accounted for. If that didn't sound like an Army response, I don't know what does.
What you know good, Mr. Man?
Ah, man. You know, I've been struggling with this migraine for like 2 fucking days. I felt great yesterday. We had group. Just so you guys know, if you're watching, Formers Anonymous, every Thursday night, 2005, Lathrop Avenue, Racine, Wisconsin, Mount Sinai Gym. Alex, the owner, is such an amazing man, allows us to use the back room for our meetings. So we have our live meetings back there every Thursday night. I felt great. We went into group. We had a great group. Talked about a lot of stuff. We talked about personal responsibility. We talked about advice, why we don't give it, why it isn't important to give. We talked about the useless and detrimental feelings of regret, not regret, of guilt. How guilt ties us down, how it stops us from growing. There you go, you got it. We talked about let's see what else. We talked about remorse, how remorse is a very positive and beneficial thing, and how we can use it to direct our lives, and how guilt will tie us down. So we had a good meeting. But after the meeting on my way home, I started to get this feeling in the back of my neck and my shoulders, and it started getting tighter. And by the time I got home, I had a migraine from hell, man, and it hasn't gone away since. It's got a little bit lighter, and then it comes back. So if I'm not up to snuff tonight, you know why. I apologize in advance. But you had
BC
mentioned
powder,
what's that?
BC powder.
BC powder. What is that?
B as in Bravo, C as in Charlie. BC powder. Right? It's a southern thing, but it'll help with a migraine, man. Walgreens carries it.
I'll take a look. Mine are vascular, and they're caused by the damage that was done to the veins in my brain when my skull was smashed open while incarcerated. So they can be pretty bad, man. Like I'm not a very big fan. I don't get them very often anymore. It used to be really bad, and now they're down to, you know, once in a great while, a couple of times a year at most. One time it was a couple of times a month, and that was rough, man. Like it left me broken and unable to recoup.
Well, after the show, I'll tell you what my brother does for his migraines. He's got he endured a TBI during basic training.
Oh, and what do you do?
He has something that works for him, but I don't want to put it out on the show.
Okay. Well, you know, I don't use anything stronger than ibuprofen or Tylenol. So
Well, that's the BC powder. Is basically it's a crushed Tylenol. It's like toot. I mean, you can take a straw and toot it. That's how fine it is.
And what is it?
BC powder.
All right, I'm gonna take a look.
Hold on
while
a
we're
minute.
talking.
Okay, I'm gonna mute my mic. Hang on, please. I'll be right back.
Yeah. BC powder active
Hey,
ingredients. You did not mute your mic.
Oh, my bad.
So
Damn it,
BC
woman.
powder, what is the active ingredient in BC powder? Aspirin and caffeine. So caffeine is a huge part of all migraine ingredients.
Well, then don't take that shit.
Docusate, sodium, fumaric acid, lactose monohydrate, potassium chloride. All right, all common migraine medication. That's good. I'm down with all those things.
Do we have any viewers? Is it just me and you right now?
Possibly. We had quite a few viewers a few seconds ago. Sometimes it takes the app the thing a second to catch up with what we have. So
see, I can send out a few invites to my friends, but they just heckle me.
Bring them in. Bring them in. We want that. Hold on. Let's get this out of here. Why is it showing me late instead of live? We got a couple of shares. Just want to say thank you. It's not just you two, AB said. Hey, babe, how you doing? No, it doesn't have to be. I can send you the link and you can hop on here with us. I just seen Amy the other day. Her and Jill were rushing to a meeting or something, and I was driving by, and I had one of our employees, my good friend Daryl, with me, and I seen him coming out, and I said, "Ooh, look, two hot chicks." And he looked, and he didn't say anything, and I whipped around the corner, and I jumped out the car, and I ran up and hugged her, and then I ran up and hugged the other one, and Daryl was just laughing. He didn't know we had known him, but it's always wonderful when I get to see Amy. I miss her so much.
You need a 12-step program.
What's that? Oh, she's at the hotel in the jammies with all the kids. I know they went to the water park this week. Hell yeah, I wish I was in my jammies. Oh, wait, I am. I'm in my jammies, y'all. So let's talk about. Go ahead.
I'm going to see if I can pull up that Racine lunch.
And while you're looking up that, let's talk about Judge Ketanji Jackson. I mean, like state Supreme Court, first black woman in the history of the United States, made it to the top. Her qualifications were fucking insane. Like, she was more qualified than any sitting judge on the fucking Supreme Court now. Like, that was nuts. The opposition to it, though, was like not surprising, but very disappointing. Yeah, and I can hear my feedback in your mic.
No, you can't.
Not anymore. Douchebag. So what'd you think about that whole fiasco with the confirmation hearing?
Man, let me tell you something.
Oh, I know you're gonna.
This political system that we have, it's so blatantly racist.
It is.
It's blatantly. I mean, just blatantly racist.
But let's not get it wrong. And sexist, right? Like, it does suck, Amy. It's surprising that nowadays, where all other industrialized and first world countries have openly supported and accepted women leaders across the world, and then we get to us, who we tout to be the greatest country in the world, and like we reject this idea that a woman can hold the same spot as a man, like, or that they're as qualified as a man. Like, some of the best bosses I've ever had have been women, right? Like,
right.
100%. And I remember when Amy, yes, you, and I first started working together, that was a question of hers. How can you handle direction from a woman? And I was like, just fine as long as she's qualified. And she was qualified.
Right.
And I don't mind taking direction from any human being, man, woman,
No.
trans, straight, gay. Like, if you know what you're talking about and you can help me improve, oh, fuck, I want you in my life. I want you to be a part of my circle. I want you to help me grow. And Amy was not an easy partner. Like, she's so used to being the boss that sometimes she would hit boss mode, and it was so easy to defer to what she was saying. At times I would just like fall, even though if I didn't agree, right? Like, I'd be like, okay, Amy. Like, and then I'd have to be like, hold on. And she took that well as well. Like, Amy never was insulted by my disagreeing with her, and then we would talk it out, and if we couldn't come to agreement, we just would put it to the side, like would set it to the side. We'll revisit that later. Or, you know, if the three of us, me, Dave, and Amy, were at ends, we would, you know, take a consensus, and, you know, majority wins. And I lost a couple times, she lost a couple times, Dave lost a couple times, but we all accepted it and we're okay with it, right? Although there was a couple of times I should have listened to Amy when I didn't. Don't take that to heart, Amy.
I was reading on it because, like, you know, I mean, Ketanji handled this stuff with grace, style, and dignity.
She did.
She really did.
Yeah.
And you know who didn't show up? Rand Paul and Graham.
Yeah. Well, never ever.
It's.
Wait, you mean Lindsey Graham?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't expect him to show up anyways. Like, you knew his feelings from the get.
Well, I mean, it fascinates me. You know, I mean, the very sense of integrity and dignity that used to be associated with those political positions is long gone on both sides.
Yeah.
Term limit. My side, the Democrats, are just spineless. They're jellyfish. They're really good, motivated jellyfish.
Term limits is something that us as Americans, we really need to think about. Like, we're allowing people to sit in there for lifelong positions, basically, and spit rhetoric that makes no sense and has no place in our country as a whole to this day. And those of you guys who are viewing, remember, hey, please like, share, and subscribe. Hold on. Bang, bang. Let me throw this out. You are experiencing OCOR Racine. We're on a live forum tonight. We're just talking shit and jacking and jamming. Well, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff, right? We're talking about the stuff that matters to most. And so the number one thing that matters to me are you guys, right? The viewers. So if you have a comment, if you want to come on camera and talk, shoot it out there. Let me know, and I'll send you a quick link. You can come right in from whatever you're viewing on. If you're on a mobile device, a laptop, or a PC, it all works the same. You hit it, you click it, you come into the green room. I bring you on screen, and we jam. Just remember the rules here at OCOR Racine. We do not allow vitriol, violence, or hatred, right? Like, if you want to come on and spit any of those three things for any person, whether they see your view or not, you will be kicked and banned permanently. I don't do hatred. Even when I'm angry, I do anger. You want to come in here and tell me, you know, how you feel, and you're angry, I'm okay with that. But if you spit any type of hatred, rhetoric, or violence, or racism, you can't be a part of my show. Sammy Rangel, I hate you. Jesus. I ain't heard from Sammy but twice this week, right? He's ignored me all week. He's got in-laws over and family. Like, he can't got time for me. I'm over here watching these stupid spitting hate right now. God damn it. I'm watching these stupid videos on marketing and boosting your social audience. And like, my brain's just pounding. I'm stabbing knives into my ear. Like, just end this suffering. Sammy says, kick me off. Kick you, period. I can't kick you off, douchebag. I've crossed the line.
Yeah, but you know what? if Sammy gets COVID and he wants to use ivermectin, he can go to Tennessee now, where they just passed a bill making that legal to prescribe ivermectin.
I can't fucking believe that, right? Like, hey, listen, you guys, I'm not a huge you have to be vaxxed guy. I don't care what your choice is, your choice. Just don't expose me or my children, right? Like, if you're not going to get vaccinated, let me know so that I can keep my distance. I respect your choice. I'm not going to martyrize you or bash you for that. But like every single study, every single medical study there's been so far has said ivermectin has done nothing to help with COVID, and yet people are still so obsessed with it, and so like, oh, hydrochloroquine, ivermectin, it's saving lives. Like, it ain't doing shit, homie. Like, nothing.
It's a horse dewormer.
Right.
For fuck's sake.
Right. Right. Did you see the other trend that was going on for a while? Somebody had put out a post saying that drinking your own pee made you better, and so there was a whole, and it was a joke to begin with, like it was a troll post, but that people actually started doing it. So what I thought I would do is start
stop charging people extra for that. What?
Right. Start a YouTube channel where I could put like. I can hear myself in your feed again there, douchebag.
Well, I don't know what to do about it, man.
I don't know, Amy, what's wrong with people, but I want to start a YouTube page where it's going to be a satire page, but, like spouting all these crazy conspiracy theories and right-wing rhetoric and make it just as funny as I can make it. So if I do that, I'll let you guys know, but we're going to keep my name quiet. Like, it's going to be the whole masked face and QAnon type. Welcome to, fucking bullshit thing. But yeah, I think I'll have fun. I'm going to talk about, so you do know about the fact that there's a race of half goblin, half human people who live right underneath the ground, who use trees to come in and out of the regular world and do bidding for far less leftist democratic Satanists. And that's where they come in and they lower young minority children in basement windows so that they can rob houses and plant.
Yeah, it's called child support.
Oh, no, that's a whole different corporation. But yeah, I think they're associated. Like, let's go here, people. You know what will really cure? Hey, everybody, just so you know, if you really want to know what's going to cure COVID here, I'm going to put it up on a banner, on a ticker real quick. Let's create a banner. Scroll across.
Hey, how do you do that? I'm going to send you something to put up there.
Hashtag, hold on. Oh, here it is. This is the only proven thing to cure you from COVID, as far as I know, in my opinion, my humble opinion. I know this will cure you of any ailment or disease that you have. I will talk to the guy upstairs. I'll put in the prayer. Conspiranoid. You're right, Dave. Right? Get the fuck out of here. So if you look at the bottom of the screen and you want to cure yourself from COVID, cancer, HIV, or the annoying dingleberries that you get when you use fuzzy toilet paper, if you send me $5 at that Cash App Monte Azul Seymour, I will put in a word with the big guy upstairs. I got a direct line to him. I can call him. Hold on. Where is it at? I can't find my little green phone, but I got a little green phone. It's about this big, and it has bells in it. When I dingle the bells, like your dingleberries, he answers, and he'll cure whatever it is that you have going on right now. So just remember that, guys. Cash at me at Monte Azul Seymour. I got your back. I'll talk to Jeebus and Buddha and, any of the prophets that you please. And the Mother Mary, we got it in here, man. So, $5, no need for a middleman. I have them send it directly to me. Yeah, right. See, like, I got you guys' back, man. Like, I will talk to Jeebus. We got it in there. We'll go from there. you know, let's just be honest here, you guys. We know what's going to work and what's not going to work. We know what's going to help and not help. Hold on, let me get this stupid banner off. I can't believe it's
where
still
am I
going.
at? Monty,
Huh?
I sent you a private chat. Copy and paste
I know.
my ad.
Let's be honest, everybody here, right? Ivermectin's not going to cure COVID. It's not going to cure colon cancer. It's not going to make you feel better about your life tomorrow. You're probably going to get
But you're not going to
diarrhea.
have worms.
Right. If you got worms, then I absolutely 100% support ivermectin. Please, if you have worms, talk to your doctor, get it out there, take that. Oh, somebody, I think Sammy's mad at me. Look at, hey, Sammy, send me $5, bro. Listen, I talked to Jeebus, Sandy, and Jeebus said, if you don't send me $5, you're going to hell. I'm just letting you know, bro. I had the discussion with him. He's down with he's down with brown, but not your brown. Like, you're the wrong shade of brown. Like, you gotta send me $5 to get in the door. Like, that's the cover charge. Cash at me at hashtag Montes or cash symbol Monteazul Seymour. I will put in the word. We'll be banging it out. Oh, look at my Cash App's blowing up. Who sent me $5? I did get a notification. Hold on. Your $20.99 payment at Netflix was declined because of insufficient balance. Tap to add Cash App. Cash to Cash App. Yeah. All right, you guys. Nobody sent me $5. I'm going to hell in every religion. We both are, bro. Nobody sent me any money, so I'm not putting in a word for any of you. You guys ruined it. You're done. Like, ivermectin will cure worms. For those of you of my angry followers, and Sammy seems really angry, you might need some help. If you do, call Actus Nonverba LLC and talk to Jim. But no, Jim, talk to me about your business, man. On a serious note, you guys, Jim Pease has been one of the most peaceful and loving angry men I've ever met in my life. I don't know how he does it, but let's talk a little bit about your business. We've been on here for how long, and we haven't talked about it yet. So,
well, you know, I try to stay humble. You know, here it is. I am, I am a nationally certified anger management specialist through the National Anger Management Association. If you go to their website, you can find me on the provider list for Wisconsin. And last October of last year, I founded the business, Actus Nonverba, which is actually a skewed Latin term that means actions, not words. Okay, and I had to alter the Actus part to because somebody had already had that particular. It was a cleaning business, for crying out loud. But anyways, what it is I use like 8 sessions and we discuss, you know, what anger is, what the clinical effects of anger is, how your brain, you know, how as an example, you have a trigger and then, you know, amygdala is stimulated, you know, and you have the rush of hormones, the flood of hormones, and you have that anger buildup, right? Well, in any regard, right, we go from there and we go into some management techniques, but mostly it's about understanding anger. You know, where it comes from, how to counteract it. You know, like not a lot of folks know that, you know, it's through the autonomous system, your nervous system, and you have like engaging your prefrontal cortex is a counter to those hormones. Okay. And it's actually, it's something that I've been using myself for years. And then when I took the training to become an anger management specialist, I was like, okay, you know, and there it is. But nationally, the national certification, we are good to meet any of the court criteria nationally. So if you've been sent to anger management, you go through our program, the national certification gets you through that.
So, do you take HMOs? Do you take state insurance?
No, not at this time. I am a cash only deal.
Okay.
I have to reset up some of my card processing, and I've been working for the last few months to get insurance, providers on board.
Fucking Sammy.
What he said. Let me click this thing down here. Ain't no telling what he said.
Amy
A
wants
mass
to know.
shooting event.
Amy wants to know. Amy wants to know if she can pay in tacos.
Who does?
Amy, can she pay in tacos?
Yes. Yes. I don't believe there's an ethical challenge in that.
So, and let's talk a little bit about anger then. Like, let's do a little bit of work here. So, I have some triggers that make me angry, right?
Well, let me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there at the trigger part, okay? Because here's the thing, all right? And these are related. I call it, this is the sneaker theory, okay? Now, you were probably, 4 or 5 when you learned how to tie your shoe? Right? Somewhere in there, 3 to 5.
I don't remember.
Might be 6, 7, I don't know. But
I wear slip-ons. Yes.
You sat with that shoe in front of you, right? And somebody told you how to make the loop, and the rabbit goes around the tree and then back through the hole, and you hung your tongue out and you practiced, right? Until you got that, right? Yep. Then somewhere around 1st or 2nd grade, you're running, you trip on your shoelace, you stop, you go down to one knee, you tie that shoe carefully, and away you go, right? And this continues to progress until eventually you're in high school, right? Your senior year, you're thinking about a test you got to take, that you're hungry. There's a person that you really find attractive and they just walked by and you're looking at them. You stumble on your shoe. You don't even look. You don't even think about it. You just tie it and keep on trucking, right? So what's going on, right, is when you think about it, in a neuron is what? It's got a dendrites on one end, an axon terminal on the other end, and a mylar tube in the middle, right? And when those dendrites connect with an axon terminal, that linking, that's the biological learning process, right? Well, what happens is after so long, because then you've got the synapse in there between the dendrites and the axon terminal, right? After a while, that synapse simply dissipates, and you're essentially hardwired, okay? This is my same approach in alcoholism, actually. Nothing overcomes that. You have to grow a newer, stronger thinking pattern, right? And so it doesn't matter if you didn't get hugs, you didn't get love, if you got beat up, if, you got fired from your job, you got dumped. None of that matters, really, if you understand the premise of anger, okay? If you understand what's going on to make you angry, right, then you can focus on growing a newer, stronger thinking pattern, kind of like what we do in Formers Anonymous, right? Kind of what we do in other 12-step groups.
How do I stop wanting to kill fucking idiots who drive like retards when I'm on the road?
You don't have to. That's the beautiful thing.
I can still be angry?
Yes. Anger is natural. It's healthy. You're supposed to be pissed off, right? It's not until anger goes from an emotion to a behavior that it really becomes a problem.
So as long as I don't bash them with my car and knock them off the side of the bridge, I'm doing okay.
That's not advised. That'll get you extra sessions, man.
Extra sessions?
Cool. No, beans. Seriously, how much bullshit aside, right? If we can understand the process, right? So we're essentially hardwired into our thinking, right? That's our response has been our response for so long. Mm-hmm. Okay. And if we understand because I think I'm not 100% at this particular moment, but I think it's 1/10 of a second for that amygdala to flip, fight or flight. Okay. And when that happens, you get that rush of hormones, right? And you can feel it as a person. You feel your face get hot. You can see there's that wrinkle that goes in the brow there. Fists, you end up, clenching. You tense up, right?
Yeah.
That's the warning signs you're going to pop, right?
Right.
In
It's
more ways
Sammy.
than one. We're not
Sammy said
keep
you're
it
mean.
this is a family show. So what I'm saying is, if you can understand the premise behind the anger, right, you can take a step forward to address it when you are triggered, right? So I hate to be the one to do this, right? But engaging that prefrontal cortex, it's, using your hands, writing, singing, humming, right? Saying a prayer, reciting poetry, whatever it may happen to be that floats your boat. 407 years ago today, our founding fathers brought forth upon this great country, et cetera, right? That's engaging that prefrontal cortex, and it actually stands to counter those hormones.
Well, I didn't know that.
Now I got to check the comments and see if Sammy's shredding me here.
You know he is. Look at Sammy told me take notes, fool. I actually am. And that's some great advice. And you know what? That's some stuff that we actually talked about in our anger management in Green Bay Max. We had Dr. Kerry Mosier, and he was pretty cool. He was a great guy, and it was one of the few programs that I took while incarcerated that I still use, right? And he talked about the same thing. So I do those things, right? Like I'll sing a song in my head when I want to, smash someone up. My biggest red flag is two things: driving, with idiots on the road is hard for me, right? Like when they cut me off, when they, when I'm doing 74 on the highway and they pass me at 150, right? And almost hit the fucking side window. I want to chase them down, pull them out their car and beat their heads in, right? Like it's something I see. Lizzie will tell you, I've been heated. Some guy almost pulled into my lane while I wasn't even his blind spot. I was right next to him and tried to switch lanes without looking and almost hit me. And I should have let him hit me and took his fucking insurance.
You know what the solution to that is, don't you?
Don't drive?
No. You got to mount train horns on your vehicle.
I do like driving the big truck for that reason. When I drive the big semi, the box truck with that big horn, oh, dude, the fear in their face when they do something stupid and I lay on that horn. But that's illegal, right? I'm not supposed to hit that horn on the road unless I'm in danger or there's a safety concern. They can give you a ticket for it.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, I got 1 million miles. I got 1 million miles OTR, and I use that horn.
Oh yeah, I do too. I love it. I love the look on their face when their whole life just stops and they're like, and I'm like, yeah.
But I have the same problem. I am a road rage person. I am, and I'm going to tell you, matter of fact, I'll give you my exercise, my road rage exercise, right? So you're driving, right? Asshole cuts you off, right? You go up here and you touch here, 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 go here, 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 and you go. I do that in my head. Sometimes I physically do it.
Right.
Cracks my passengers up.
So how much is it per session? If I wanted to book you?
The whole 8 sessions come out about $300.
Okay.
That's
not bad at all.
And you can be paid by session or it can be paid in one lump sum. Okay. It's affordable. I'm not trying to I really actually want to pass on these skills. I want to help folks because, let's face it, with everything that's going on, I don't care which side of the fence you're on, we're all pissed off about something. And now we're in the land of Karens. You know, matter of fact, Karen videos are like my favorite thing to watch. And some of these cats are so smooth and so calm, the way that they deal with these irate, disassociated people. you know, and I look at them and I just envy them. I'm like, wow, you know. Now I have my own Karen response, which I happen to have learned from a viewer in our show tonight, and I don't have any problem asking him who hurt you so bad.
I'm done with you. I think I believe the Cash App ticker up. Like, I've been looking at my phone like, is someone going to send me some money now, damn it? Let me get this shit off here. Oh, my God. Dude, so you can feed the Stegosaurus.
Did you just call my business shit?
No, I meant the Cash App request. You fucking douchebag. No, I'm very supportive of that. I think if people are looking for anger management, they should get that treatment. And you know, for as long as I've known you, and as angry as you can be, you haven't killed anybody or beat anybody up since I met you. So I think you're doing pretty good, because you had a couple of situations where I probably would have put hands on people, and you.
Well, let me throw something at you, right? Erin and I, my wife and I, we rarely ever fight, although we frequently disagree on things, right?
Hey,
about
Sabrina.
80% of the time, it's because I'm being an asshole. Okay. But when we get mad at each other, right, we look at each other and smile. And she'd be like, what are you smiling about? And I'm like, well, I just hit you in the knee with a crowbar in my head. You know? And she's like, well, that's cool because I stabbed you in the huevos. You know? But honestly, that's how we deal with that anger and aggression in our relationship, right? We're authorized to be angry. You're supposed to get pissed off.
Sammy's on a fucking roll tonight, bro.
Oh no, I don't even want to look.
He's talking. He's Dave. Hey Dave, how you doing, brother? I love you, man. He said Dave said anger management taught me a lot years ago. Amy said I don't want my anger management, but she really doesn't need her anger managed. She's got it pretty much under control. She's pretty fucking smart. Sammy said I agree with Amy. He doesn't want his anger managed either. But Sammy then said he disagrees with Dave. He doesn't think Dave's learned anything from anger management years ago, or maybe he just doesn't think Dave learned anything. But you know, I think Sammy's in a pretty fuck with us mood tonight, which is not surprising because he was too scared to come on camera with us, right? Like I sent him a link too, and he avoided that like a plague. But here he is in the comment section, just running at it. How you doing tonight, Sabrina? Love seeing you last night. Can't wait to see you again. It did teach you how to manage Dave, because there's been plenty of time. And Dave's right. Like, I know Dave's anger management skills because I've seen him angry. I've made him angry. I had him in the back of the truck one time. He was ready to fight. I go, do you want to fight me, Dave? And he goes, no, I don't want to fight you. And then walked around, because I knew he wanted to fight me. He wanted to beat me up. Like, he wanted to beat me up, but he loved me too much to go there. Oh, shit. I'm sorry to do this to you, Jim.
Oh. What's up, sir?
Look, I poked the bear. I poked the bear. Here he is. What's happening, Sammy, tonight? Our subject.
That's not my name.
His name's anger management. Jesus Christ.
No, I'm anger manager. I'm the manager.
Anger manager, yeah. Anger manager. Manager's anger, Sammy.
Pissing people off. Somebody's got to do it.
First of all, let me tell you why I didn't come on camera, because I didn't realize I needed to click the other link to do that.
Oh.
Until you said it, and I'm like, oh, I'm in the wrong spot.
Oh, my God. Amy said it right. Oh, no, there goes the neighborhood. Oh, shit. Hey, how do you like this one, though, Sammy? Right there at the bottom of the screen.
The Cash App Monte.
Where's the money at, bro?
I mean, they don't take pesos.
Hey, dude, it was perfect timing, too. I set that up there, and like 2 minutes later, my phone buzzed, and it said Cash App, and I was like, some idiot actually sent me $5. Like one of you dumbasses actually. I can't really talk to Jeebus. He doesn't like me at all. And then I looked and it was like, no, it was a denial for my fucking Netflix because I don't have enough money on my Cash App. I was like, oh, there goes the neighborhood.
Dude, we're on day 10.
Yeah, your in-laws are there, right?
What's your feedback on Katanji?
Yeah.
Say more. What are you looking for?
Her being the first black woman elected to the United States
I,
Supreme Court.
I think she earned every bit of that, but I've never seen anyone drag through the mud as much as she was.
And baselessly, like there was no dirt to pull on her. Like if there was, then it would be legitimate, right? Like
Well,
if
it's all 2017 leftover administration bullshit,
man.
And they're taking domestic terrorism. This is the second big thing they've done in the last 4 or 5 years. They've taken civil rights language and apply it to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're taking the way we talk about domestic terrorism and applying it to people it doesn't belong to. It's just, it's basically saying, like when you call somebody stupid, you're like, I know you are, but what am I? It's just stupid, man. It's just ludicrous. And the last administration has tried to stack the deck here, but I think this is a major win. This is a major victory for so many reasons, man. Just beyond the fact that she's a woman, beyond the fact that she represents the people, beyond the fact that she's black. There's a lot more at stake.
She is the most qualified judge on that panel right now.
Yeah.
Like she's got every box checked.
Well, they put a lot of people in there that it was a rush to try to skew the board, you know what I mean? And I think this helps really reestablish. And this is what I would say about civil rights. You can't think of civil rights as a win versus lose positioning. You can't get rid of good anymore than you can get rid of bad.
Right.
But in civil rights, we have to think about maintaining balance, right, between the two. And we have to fight twice as hard to maintain that balance, because if we lose that balance, then we can lose that war. But we can't win it. That's not something you're not going to get to a done. The journey isn't done, right? It doesn't have a destination endpoint. It's an ongoing process, right? But it's kudos to everyone who helped make that possible, and kudos to her, man, for stepping up and enduring,
Dude, she was so smooth during the whole thing. And you could see in her face and in her body movement when she was like, where am I? Do I really want this? Or do I just want to say what's on my mind? And she held herself together. She used anger management skills better than most.
Well, she avoided being put in the quandary of moral dilemmas that were there. See, this is a good example. This is textbook propaganda in trying to trigger a response, right? And so because if we can get you flustered, you've proven our point, right? In many ways, the Oscars is exactly what these other groups will use and weaponize as saying, see, they're really savages, or they can't handle this, or they don't know how. They'll bastardize that. And if she would have made a single slip, it would have just been used to discredit her completely, her character.
Yeah.
Like we all have to perform at a high rate of discipline and morality and ethics, just to avoid being completely dismantled, right? And I can't believe how much they threw at that woman, man. It's a disgrace. It's embarrassing, to what lengths we went to try to discredit her as a human being and as a professional in her field, as a leader in her field. But that's all. That's not necessarily water under the bridge, but now there's no stopping her. Now she can, represent and bring some much needed balance to her position and to that group, man. And I actually think it's a major victory for a lot of women in the country who are in dire need of, support.
Better representation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was when me and Jim first started talking about it. That was one of my points. Is this isn't just a social or a win for people of color. Like, this is a win for women.
Yeah.
Like, this is a win for women. They're now much more represented on.
I felt like it was a win for me too. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like that
as a person of color, period.
Represent me, man. Like I would not have a problem with her representing me. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like she's stand up. She's just a stand up person, man. I'm happy for her.
I'm very happy for the country, for all of us.
Same.
I agree. Sorry, I'm going to pop some pills here. Trying to get rid of this migraine. Ibuprofen, guys.
Go ahead.
Talking about terrorism, I was reading an article that Proud Boys guy Donahue was going to flip on his peeps.
Yeah, I knew about that a while ago. That was rumored right from the beginning.
Barks Root Beer, best root beer in the world. Sponsor me.
Jim went back to the 70s with the
RC Cola with the throwback.
That shit is stale as soon as you pop the lid. That's the equivalent of Black's beer out of Milwaukee.
RC
Cola. That's the premier Aldi brand.
Red, white, and blue. Who are you?
Dude, he went straight to the back of Aldi's, and Aldi said, "Oh, we got one case left from back in the 60s." If he would have put that shit on eBay, he would have sold it for 11 cents.
Right.
That would have been winning.
You're drinking the Schlitz malt liquor of beer, bro.
No, Blatz.
Just bad words.
Oh, that's a Milwaukee beer. If you don't know, it's horrible.
Oh, I know.
It's like a hot bag of green pennies. Nasty as fuck. God, dude, my neighbor handed me. He didn't even know this guy. I just got out the joint, right? But the first time, so I'm still thugging and shit, right? I'm actually on the run. I'm hiding out in Milwaukee. My neighbor, they're drinking old folks, like these old white folks, south side of Milwaukee. They're probably the only old white folks on the south side of Milwaukee. Dude asked me if I wanted a beer. He asked me a Blatz beer. I'm like, yeah, cool, bro. Pop it open, drink it out. Couldn't even help myself. Spit it right back out. Spit it, right? I didn't even try to fake it. I couldn't even fake it. Just put it in my mouth. It was like my mom said, nope. That shit was nasty.
My mom had a friend that she had known, John Strom, he passed away. He was a great guy. I loved him. He used to wear these big, huge 70s bifocals that were pink. You know what I mean? They had the pink tint to him.
Yeah.
Long hair. He rode a bicycle everywhere because he couldn't have a license, right? He had been in so many drunk driving accidents. And I was like 15 on the run, and he let me crash on the floor of his apartment. And he was a great guy, right? Like, he kept trying to get me to go back home and, hey, you should really call your mom, Monty. But he drank the Silver Bull, Schlitz, and he drank from the moment he woke up to the moment he passed out in a dead fucking drunk, right? And the first time I drank it, it was the most horrible. And he drank it warm. Like, he never put it in the fridge. He was a true alcoholic, right? Like, just pop that beer, slam it down, pop one, slam it down. Like, his apartment had more empty cans of beer than a recycling center, right? And the first time I drank it, I spit it out and almost threw up. He laughed at me. He thought it was hilarious. I eventually got it down. I drank quite a bit of that shit. All right. He was the one who taught me how to drink a 40 ounce through a straw.
What? Oh.
He'd put a big straw in a 40, and he said it would make you drunker. I don't remember if it did or didn't.
Red Bull, man. I used to do about 6 of those a day, 40 ounce.
Oh, the Bull Schlitz?
Red Bull.
Red Bull cost me a construction job, and not because I was drunk, because the gas I had the day after. The boss told me, you bust one more part of my job site, you're fired. I said, out I go.
Dave, yeah, you better apologize, motherfucker. Hey, when Dave used to drink, before Dave quit drinking, and we would go on the road, like when we were going on our long haul, at the end of the night, I usually woke up and drove first thing in the morning. So he'd have some beer, he'd hit the bar, have a few, grab a 12-pack or something, a 6-pack. Dude, his beer farts, like they were so wretched. Like,
why the fuck are we talking about this?
He would roll his window up, and smile as we're cruising down the road, right? Like he'd smile, and the next thing you know, I'd just be like sticking my head out the window.
See, there ain't no amount of anger management for that. None.
Dude, it was horrible.
That's a war crime.
That's exactly what it was.
That's a war crime.
It was a war crime. His ass was horrible. But
that's great.
That's fucked up.
Jesus Christ.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, you missed group last night there, Sammy.
Dude, I am so sorry, man.
We had a good group.
Day 10.
I know it, bro. I know it. Hey, listen, let's talk something about on here right now, because somebody had hit me up and asked me for my advice, and I didn't give it to them, right? And this was actually a topic at group last night. We had talked about why we don't give advice and where that came from. And I don't think I've ever been in any kind of program or group that offered me that wisdom prior to FA. And so when you were writing our readings and everything else like that, what prompted you to really look at advice giving and why we recommend that we never give advice?
Well, I think as Jim would say, we're all insane, right? We're all a fucking bunch of idiots, ex-assholes trying to do the best we can. I don't think we're in any position to be guiding anyone any fucking where. We're there to get our shit together, share our experience, and hope you can learn from all the dumb fuck shit we did, right? Like, that's ultimately it. But at the same time, you can, everyone knows the saying, good intentions, what good intentions are. But the reality is we don't live with the consequences of the advice we give. They do. And we don't have the ability to filter advice through the lenses that they do. And think of this, man. If I tell you to leave your gang, separate from your family and go off on your own because that's the only way you're going to make it. Estimate how many lenses they have to think that through. Different lenses. They know all the nuances and the ins and outs of what the repercussions of making decisions like that would be. Right? When I had to leave the gang, how many lenses, how many relationships, how many repercussions, how many possible outcomes that I had to filter that decision through? Because there was more at stake that I could even imagine when I made that move. And I mean, as well as I do, when you leave that life, people worry because things that they're banking on you to keep to yourself. And when you start moving on, people start getting worried about what you're going to do with that information, right? Or on the other side of that, people think it as an opportunity to get even with you because now they think you're outside the ranks and they might try to take it back. There's just so many. Or what about like my son? When I got out of prison, he was mad at me because I wasn't in anymore. Like all the different lenses that people have to filter through advice through. And I'll be honest, man, there aren't a lot of people that think things through to the level that it requires or should be. And they'll often make like these impulse decisions. And then the next thing you know, they got a landslide of consequences to deal with. And on more than one occasion, people will come back to you and say, that advice you gave me fucked my life up. You don't want to be responsible for that.
Right.
That's why we share examples. We share we share our experiences. the other side of that is when you do all the thinking for someone, you're basically implying you don't trust them to do it for themselves. And we don't want to foster helplessness. This is why, we all we can do is share what we have to share our hopes, strengths, and experiences. And at some point one day, maybe your wisdom. All we can do is share that, but it's up to that person to kind of sort through that mess and say, okay, this part of what that person said might work for me, but that part over there that so and so said might add to it and help me get. You know what I mean? They have to piece it together because this is a really intense process, man. And the consequences that you've been saying for the last few weeks, this life and death, right? The consequences of this shit are. I mean, we're still living with consequences of decisions we made, both good and bad.
Yeah.
From the moment we decided to change, just from the moment when we tried to change, right? Like, there's still good shit and there's still bad shit in there that we have to live with and sort through. And so it's just fun. It's good practice to, one, not think for the other person and not imply that they can't do it for themselves. It's also compassionate and empathic, really empathic, to say, look, I know that you might really put a lot of weight behind what I'm saying, but I care enough about you not to make a decision for you that I don't really understand how it could affect you. What I'm going to do is just give you some information, but ultimately it's up to you, to piece that together, man. And I think it's kind of arrogant to think that we know what's best when we prescribe things for other people. And how many times have you been in counseling, whether it's in prison or on the streets, when your counselor tried to tell you what was best for you? When the judge tried to tell you what was best for you, when your parents try to tell you what's best for you, when your girl or your guy tells you what's best for you. It's arrogant to do that, man. We don't know what's best for people, man. We hope for the best, but we really don't know what's for the best.
I know what's for the best for my viewers right now. Cash at me $5.
There's another part to that, Sammy. Because, like myself, I've never been gang affiliated, right?
But no, that's not in the Army.
Yeah, you were gang affiliated. You were in the Army.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
But
it's the same. Don't dismiss that.
I stand corrected. Go ahead and say it.
Don't dismiss that. You were in the gang.
Say it. I stand corrected.
Yeah, I stand corrected there. Streetwise, I was never involved in a gang. Okay, I was associated with some motorcycle clubs, et cetera, but never in a gang. Okay,
Kevin, I love you, bro.
And I'm trying to give somebody advice when I don't have a clue what the ramifications and repercussions are. There's a lot of harm. Then there's, Formers Anonymous is so diverse. We accept everybody, and my life experiences and my life narrative may be so entirely different than the person sitting next to me that the measure of harm that could be done is just unspeakable.
I do think there's a time to give direction. I do think when a person is truly, and I mean truly, in crisis, that's a good time to give some instructions and directions, literally, like, sit down, breathe, hang up the phone, put the gun down. I mean, there are times, but that's not the same as advice, and it's not in the same spirit of advice. It's really helping someone access higher brain functions when they're in such a bad place they can't, and you have to recognize they can't exercise, executive function, the brain. And so a lot of times it's like, come on, let's go, follow me, take my hand, or in some cases you snatch a motherfucker up and hold him back for his own good, right? But it's not
hide their shoes.
Yeah, it's not the same thing as advice.
Jim, hey, I had nothing to do with hiding your shoes. I just knew that she had taken them when you said you were going to go drinking.
Motherfucker, you knew.
I remember that day.
You fucking knew.
2.5 hours.
We all knew.
2.5 hours.
We were getting live updates when that was happening, so we all knew. We actually there was a bunch of us that knew what was going on.
2.5 hours you look for them shoes. The whole time telling me, as soon as I find my shoes, we're going to go get fucking drunk, Monty.
I was giving him monthly advice on that day.
It was fun.
Motherfucker's shoes.
It was
And, you know,
fun.
hey, look, there's another component here. It's called self-determination, right? A person's right to self-determine too.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we've been in enough environmental structures and systems where we feel like we haven't really had the right to make our own decisions. And I think when you can really respect the fact that somebody has the ability to make decisions, it empowers them to be responsible with that, you know. Yeah, so it's advice is just, it's not for the former to give advice, man. Just admit.
So Dreams wrote, advising individuals based on insight, compassion, and empathy is much different than telling someone how to manage your life. It comes down to a mutual listening and working together to reflect and problem solve together. I dig that, and I think that's what you're saying, right? Like, in essence, allowing the person to make their own choice through all the different options that we can list out for them without telling them what to do it.
See, an advisory committee is there to give their different perspectives on things, right? But advisory committee hold no power. Right. And that's really the important thing here. But a lot of newcomers will see, you know, the OGs in the group as wielding or having authority that others don't. Right. And so we need to be conscious of that dynamic when we're in a group setting, because again, people, I'll be honest with you, man, there aren't a lot of leaders in the world. There are a lot of followers who think they're leaders, but a lot of times they will just follow what, you know, the advice or guidance that somebody gives them with little to no thought applied to it, man, for themselves, you know. And it's, you can still send people off like you did in the streets in recovery. Fuck, there are people in recovery telling other addicts and alcoholics not to be on their fucking medication. Like, that shit's detrimental to somebody's well-being and health, man. It's a slippery slope, which is why we got to be kind of like hands off when it comes to that. Because once we start down that path, no matter how innocuous or benign or innocent or naive it seems, it's real easy to stay on that path, man.
Yeah.
You know, the best people in my life, the best teachers, the best mentors, my uncle, I have never gotten advice from them. Never. They've never offered it. You know, but they teach me in a way that allows me to kind of figure it out, man.
Yeah.
You know,
Uncle
when you
Gene,
look at how we're doing okay.
I told you about when I was incarcerated and I went to Uncle Gene with that nightmare that I kept having. It was a recurring nightmare and it was constant. And I was having it and waking up in the shakes. And I was at a lodge and I was with Uncle Gene, Red Hill, and all the brothers were there that time. It was Mike, Uncle Gene, Uncle Mike, Uncle Sonny, and Uncle Roy. And me and Uncle Gene were on the side making prayer ties. And he asked me how I was doing because I looked tired. And I told him I'd been having this nightmare. And he was like, well, what was the nightmare? And I broke it down to him in detail. And I was like, what do you think it means? And he was like, I have no clue. I didn't dream it. And I looked at him. I was so mad. I was like, what? And he was like, I didn't dream it. You did. And he was like, it was your dream. He was like, it was scary. He was like, what is it teaching you?
My uncle told me one time, it means you were sleeping.
I was like, oh, tell me. He was like, I don't know what it means, bro. Good dream. Wrong Indian.
Oh my God. Yes.
Uncle Gene is so funny and so real, right? Like, I remember one time we were talking and it was about the dream, right? I'm like, man, you know, you never even talked to me about it. And he was like, well, what did you ever get from that dream? And I started talking to him and I was like, well, what do you think this means? And he was like, Hoda, Hana. Still not that Indian. You tell me what it means. And I'm like, man, I'm done with you, Uncle Gene. Like, I'm done with you. You know, but he was right. And eventually I worked out what it was telling telling me for me, right? Or at least what I think it was telling me. It comes down to listening, but it also comes down to willpower to change yourself. You said it, Kevin. Like, really, that's what it comes for me. That's what recovery comes down to, right? Um, the willpower to try to keep myself in the best possible position. Because I learned something that I knew, but earlier this week I was having some real struggles, and I was talking to Sammy, and he had asked me a question in a way that made more sense, and it was about a friend, someone close to me, who has reoccurring relapses, and I just couldn't figure it out, and I was just frustrated. And he says, you know, uh, do you get mad if your 3-year-old can't learn how to ride a bike? Do you get mad if he poops his pants? Like, what are you doing? Like, sometimes we have to understand that addiction is really a disease, and it's a disease that we recognize, and because we recognize it, we have to understand sometimes there is no conscious choice to screw up. It is definitely a mental illness that causes that relapse, and we have to treat it as such. We have to acknowledge it as such and work with people in a way as if we understand that they're not doing it on purpose. They don't want to do what they're doing. They would much rather be normal.
And so, like, I'm reading Kevin's response there, and I appreciate the response, but I fundamentally disagree for a couple of reasons with a couple of different populations. Again, if that 3-year-old is trying to ride that bike and he can't, what does willpower have to do with that? Do you see what I mean? Like, it's not willpower. The idea that willpower is at the base of all change and all ability to change doesn't really understand human nature, and it also doesn't understand the impact that society can have on a person's desire to change. If you think about the reentry program I was running one day, imagine the state at the state level and correctional level. If the state and Department of Corrections continued to believe that the reason people aren't changing is because they lack the willpower. Well, as soon as we say that, that lets the Department of Corrections and the state off the hook for the part that they play in the failure of these men and the women that were coming back, right? Because the women, the men and women in this program started doing better when we changed policy at the state and Department of Corrections level, right? So it's not simply always, that comes from what's called a moral judgment model. And that's really where a lot of, like, in the very beginnings of the 30s and 40s of the 12-step movements, where that era really talked about the moral model, which was basically, you're a bad person, you're an addict, you're an alcoholic, right? And it didn't really take into account the disease component that you just referred to. Because if it's a disease, what does willpower have to do with that? And how does willpower override the disease component, right? Do I think it takes a certain amount of willpower? Absolutely. There has to be a component of that, but I think that comes later. Because in the beginning, they don't have the willpower to do it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in the position that they are. In the beginning, I think it takes a massive amount of energy to study, but also a massive amount of energy to support. Like, that's why it's a group setting. If it was all about willpower, we wouldn't need a group setting to do this shit, to maintain this shit, right? Sometimes your willpower isn't enough. And it's not because you're weak. It's not because you are not serious. Have either of you two ever tried to change in a genuine manner and failed?
Every time.
Right? Like, you really want to do it, right? And you can still fail even though you really want to do it. There you go, right? It doesn't mean that it doesn't take willpower at some point, but that's not all. You can't put all your eggs in that basket. When you understand human nature, combined human nature with being a fucking criminal and with living with the dependency and living with mental health issues, it is not simply a matter of willpower. It takes a lot more. And we have to recognize the community plays a significant role in our recovery. None of us on this call today got here on our own. We had a lot of help. We had a lot of help, man. And we had a lot of help to do it terrible too. You know, like we didn't. No idiot was ever self-made. He had a lot of help.
Right.
So it is.
Now, I want to chime in on that, Sammy,
Sure.
because that 1934 12-step group, right, in that literature, they say willpower alone is not enough, and they talk about a psychic change.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now, I'm not advocating for the 12-step group, but I do support that sentiment. You know, it takes a psychic change. It genuinely does, in my opinion, at least.
It does, and but remember, here's what it takes to change. You ready? 10,000 things. Right. So as we identify one, just remember it's one of 10,000 things, right? And any combination of those things at any given moment, facing any given situation, and the closer we can get to the 10,000 things, the more likely we are to stay stable in an environment that is completely unstable, right? So we want to, and I hear this all the time. People say you have to want to change in order to change. Well, then why do we have the word intervention?
Right.
If it only takes your desire to want to change, why do we even practice using the word intervention? Right. Interventions work. And in fact, I would say that the three of us on this call are subjects of interventions that eventually were successful. Why? Because at the point at the point of consciousness, when we decided that it was time to change, it followed the moment right before it where you didn't want to change. We probably went from one to the other immediately. But right before you were ready to change, you were not ready to change, right? And something happened. And this is why it's important to recognize that interventions are a significant part of what the community can do to bolster and support and even start a person down the path that they will eventually, right? Why do we put training wheels on the bikes for our kids? We can see further down their road, and we realize that with this support, they're likelier to get to where they're trying to get sooner than later, right? And it's an intervention in many ways. We're intervening on their behalf, and we're setting up the system for success versus failure. That's why the smartest thing about a 12-step program is that it's membership. That it's a membership group. It's a group. It's not necessarily the 12 steps because even if we didn't have the 12 steps, but we all kind of agreed to go in the same direction together, we're likelier to succeed together than by ourselves.
Yeah.
That is the truth. That's human nature. That's why we have societies going how far back, communities how far back. Even when we were nomadic before we had agriculture, right? Even as a nomadic group, we knew that staying together, that there were benefits. And the research shows that a group learns faster than an individual.
Yep.
And a group doubles its information base faster than an individual, right? There's a lot of good science behind why groups are effective, but not to say that we don't need to do the individual work on ourselves.
I absolutely agree fundamentally with that. So Dream says mental health and trauma is often overlooked in the correctional system, which if processing trauma, learning coping skills, understanding the base of events isn't understood, willpower doesn't matter. If you don't know how to ride a bike, willpower doesn't matter. You have to be taught properly to ride the bike and then allow willpower to master it. Bang, bang.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And man, willpower is like a river. It's like a shore. It comes and goes. That's just the way it is, man. It comes and goes. Me going to the gym every day, there are a lot of days I'm just like, fuck, man, I don't want to do this shit. I just want to sleep. Right? It comes and goes, man. The willpower to be peaceful, like when you're in crisis. How many times have we gotten each other through that shit, Monte? We're ready just to regress, right?
Absolutely.
Willpower comes and goes. We can't bank everything on that, man. It's important, man. It is important. It's a factor, but you got to have other factors included in that, And I'll be honest, man. Like, I think sometimes when we talk about having courage, we have to be careful because if somebody doesn't feel like they have it, and we're talking about it, they'll start to feel less about themselves in the face of us talking about having courage. Like we have to find the messaging that says, one day we'll all have this ability to face these things, because when we talk about how strong we are, people who aren't there yet will start to feel worse about themselves.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Everybody who's watching, we're going to get ready to wrap up here. We got an hour and 15 in. I'm going to challenge your willpower right now. If you guys are truly as strong as you believe, cash at me at
Jesus. Hey, I got to tell you guys something funny.
Oh my God.
Back when I was
Bards,
driving the
root
truck,
beer.
right? I had gone out past Custer's last stand out there,
Mm-hmm.
right? And repeatedly had gone by and had never seen it, never stopped, was never able to stop. And so this particular time that I was going out there was towards the end of my career. I called the dispatcher and I said, fuck you, I'm stopping to check out Custer's last stand out there, right? And I missed it, right? Well, where I found to turn around was a reservation, right? I want to say, I think it was Blackfeet. Okay. And so I thinking that I'm just going to jump off, go underneath and come back on and go the other way, right? No, that's not how it worked. I got off and I'm in a semi, right? And so I'm following this road around and I come out there and there's like ball fields and there's Native Americans all laying on their belly doing a varmint shoot, right? And here comes this goddamn semi, right? So I've caught their attention. And the guy comes up to me, what's going on? And I said, I fucked up and made a wrong turn. And he told me he wished that all the cowboys had been like me, that things would be fucking different.
True fucking story.
Right.
Honest on my life.
It didn't start with the Cowboys. If we would have went back to Columbus days, fucking made a wrong turn. Let's head back. Oh my God, that's hilarious. I love it.
Nicest folks I ever met. They actually had me stay for dinner. I ended up going the next day to go see Custer's last stand.
Nice.
That's hilarious too.
All right. For those of you who don't know, tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. right here on my channel, on the Oak Court channel, Former Anonymous Live, the Former Anonymous main page. We hold a meeting every Saturday morning at 9:30 live here on Facebook. Come join us. Learn the things we're learning with us. Like, this is a journey, man. Like, we're not teaching nothing. You're just along for the ride with us as we're along for the ride with you. It's been an amazing journey so far. It's definitely altered the direction of my life in a way that I am constantly appreciative of. The support that we offer each other is something that I haven't gotten anywhere else. For those of you who tune into Ocor every week, we fucking love you. The Cash App is my Cash App, but please don't need to send me anything unless you want me to be able to pay my Netflix bill. Dude, that was hilarious though, bro, because it was perfect timing. Like, I had put that thing up there just jokingly, and then my Cash App hit me and said, you got a notification. I was like, who sent me money?
You triggered it.
No money. I have no monies for you today. But no, you guys come join us. Thank you for being a part of Ocor every week. Again, we'll be on live tomorrow night at 9 p.m. just for fun. Fridays and Saturdays, 9 p.m. We're going to do another open forum. We're going to talk a little bit more about Racine, the directions it's going, what we can do to grow and change our community. Jim, here, hold on. Let me put that back up for those of you who are in need and are really looking for help in the anger management field. Give Jim a call. Actus Nonverba LLC. Talk to Jimbo. There he is right there with the big forehead that goes all the way to the back of his head. As we know, Sammy, I love you, bro. Can't stand your face, but thank you for coming on. Jim, thank you. I enjoy talking to the two of you guys weekly. So
stay on after we're done with that. I'll talk to you.
Absolutely, Jimbo. You know
I'm
what to
gonna
do.
hang out for just a second too myself. I got to talk to Monty.
All right, Facebook family and friends, I love you guys. Thank you for your support. We'll talk to you again tomorrow night, 9 p.m. right here, right now.